Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome back to the Better Man podcast. Today's episode is a member interview. We have John Scott here to talk about his experience with Manful Yoga, but also with health in general. So, John, thank you for being here.
That's right. You'd be here.
Yeah, cool. So, how long have you been doing Manful Yoga for?
Oh, God. I think it's just over 2 years. I think that
Okay.
was just before stroke. So, yeah, about just over 2 years.
Okay.
Um,
Got it. So, what made you go looking for a solution like Manful Yoga? Did you have an oh shit moment where you realized you needed to do something different for your
uh,
health?
no, well, I've been into weightlifting for quite a few years now. Um, I was into more bodybuilding than anything else. And
Hmm.
then it sounds stupid, but I was kind of got a bit bored of my normal pre-workout. And
Hmm.
there was another website called Darebee, I think it's called, and they had
Okay.
yoga, like they're like pictographs of the workouts. I thought, oh, that looks interesting, and then I followed a couple of their things, and then
Hmm.
as I got into the interest of their stuff, obviously yours popped up. Oh, that's
Hmm.
quite cool, and I have seen yoga around, and I kind of like. I guess it's the same as a lot of people kind of go yoga. It's like, oh, is that all that sunshine and rainbows and breathing and more wellness than actual practical stuff. And obviously, I see
Hmm.
your website and your videos that you had out, and
Hmm.
it was just a lot more practical, a lot more what I was into. So I started
Got it.
following that, and obviously became a member.
Yeah. Did you start with the Strength Foundations Challenge?
Oh, I'm trying to remember now. It's been a couple of years now, isn't it? I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
It stuck with that for a while as a pre-workout, and then obviously I got more and more enjoying yoga more and more, and it became not just a pre-workout; it was
Hmm.
its own thing.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, how did that help with? And so you were doing that in conjunction with weight training. How did it help with your weight training as a pre-workout?
Uh, well, it's obviously the programs I followed, the buff dudes. Uh,
Hmm.
they had their own stretching and that before and after, and it was
Hmm.
just that kind of um, adding to it and doing something that wasn't just the normal same pre-workout every time. And
Hmm.
then I wanted to look for ones that were specific to each body part, not body parts, but like upper body, lower body, core, whatever. And
Okay.
obviously, that's doing the yoga was adding it to it, and making me more enjoy that equally as much as the weight training.
Okay. I guess what did you like about it, or what was different from the weight training?
Um, because it seems to be uh, it's not just stretching; it's also I got the 20-minute muscle I quite enjoyed. It's also building muscle,
Hmm.
um, being more flexible than I've ever been in my life. I've never been
Yeah.
flexible. Being overweight and a man, it's being flexible isn't something that you ever think you would be. But obviously, this
Hmm.
last competition, the challenge, I managed to almost split.
Oh wow.
Not quite.
That's that's a big accomplishment for not ever being flexible before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not quite as what yours was in the videos, but I did more than what I could have ever have done, even when I was a teenager and I was fitter and
Wow.
more flexible.
Hmm. So what has that done for you in terms of just your everyday life? Have you noticed that, more flexibility? Do you feel better? I mean, how does it impact your other workouts too?
Um, uh, affects everything. I haven't had a bad back in months. Um, I work at a kitchen now, in a pub, and even though I'm bending over and on my feet all day, I haven't had any problems muscle wise, joints wise. Uh, Walk to work. It's a 25-minute walk, as well as a 8-9 hour shift. No
Mm,
problems whatsoever in that sense. So yeah, it's really helped completely.
wow, that's pretty cool. And did you used to have? I mean, did you used to have aches and pains during the
Yeah,
day?
I think other other jobs, especially when I was chefing at a factory, it was
Hmm.
a lot more a lot more physical. Like it was more like manual labor. I
Hmm.
kind of wish I had all this then, but yeah, I would come home with bad back, or I'd have to have a week off because I'd hurt myself, or I'd twisted an ankle,
Wow.
or equipment had injuries through equipment, or
Mm.
it's yeah, it's a lot different then.
Were you doing weight training at that time?
Some, yeah, more
Um,
just a couple of dumbbells when I first
hmm.
started. Well, it's a couple of I think it was a couple of sugar bags or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
as I got into it, yeah, but I still like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, because my shifts were quite often like 6 o'clock in the morning, so that was the only time I could do it. Um, yeah,
Mm.
it's definitely different. But now obviously my shifts change. I've been able to work out during days off and wait. I don't can't wait train now, but oh yeah, definitely enjoying it more.
Hmm. Okay, so it sounds like it's also helped with overall energy if you're able to work out on your days off compared to having to take days off before.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
No,
pretty
I'm not
cool.
having any injuries. Touch wood.
So, how long did you do the workouts? How long did it take for you to notice that you were feeling more flexible, that you were feeling fewer aches and pains? Do you remember?
Um, Probably I think COVID, when I kind of picked up the yoga before I found Manflow yoga.
Hmm.
Um, I realised that was the flexibility rather than just the normal passive
Hmm.
stretching. Um, and then I realised I was getting stronger as well because my deadlifts and things like that were getting bigger, and I was lifting heavier,
Yeah.
um, and obviously since then I've I, I can stretch and I can go further and do a lot more with a bit more energy.
Yeah. Gotcha. So, what do you think enabled you? So, when do you remember doing yoga? It could be non-manful yoga. It could be manful yoga too. But when do you remember being consistent with it for the first time, and how often were you doing it?
Um, Probably when COVID hit. Um, I think I was weight training before that, but obviously COVID hit and no one could go anywhere. And we
Mm,
had quite a really hot summer and
hmm.
spring here, and it was out in the garden. So I ended up weightlifting and yoga in the back garden every day, almost 4 or 5 days a
Hmm.
week, for 3, 4 months without much problem. Um, and it kind of spiraled spiraled from there. Always made sure that even if it's raining, making sure the kitchen's free to make sure I could get
Mm,
in there and get my yoga in. And even if I wasn't
yeah.
weight training, I'd always get the yoga in.
Hmm. Got it. So, what do you think helped you? Do you think it was just the shutdown or the lockdown? Was that what enabled you to be consistent, or was there something else that do you think helped with you doing the workouts more consistently?
I think so. I mean, I was reasonably consistent before that, but
Hmm.
with the shutdown, it was easier for a lot of
Hmm.
people getting out into the garden if you had a garden,
Yeah.
and the weather helping as well. I think stopped people from going crazy in the house.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
time, I just started a new job in care, so I only did 24-hour shifts, and it was almost like I've only got an hour left, but I finish at 2 o'clock. I can go home and yoga and weight train before
Okay.
dinner. So it was, yeah.
Got it. All right. Cool. So, and then you had a setback. You've had a setback.
Just a little
What's
bit, yeah.
Yeah. So what happened and when?
Um, Originally, they thought it was a TIA. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's basically a mini stroke.
Hmm.
Um, Woke one up. I was literally on shift in care work, and I couldn't talk, couldn't even stand up barely. And I got to the hospital, and they realised it was a stroke, which is not particularly one you hear when you're in your 30s. Um,
Hmm. How old are you?
I am 39 now,
Okay.
so it's 2 years ago, nearly about 37 when it happened.
Okay.
It's yeah, it's a consistent. I think they said they have a PFO, which is like a hole in the heart. I think people are born with it quite often,
Okay.
but usually it shuts with most people, but mine didn't, and then which caused a clot and a brain bleed,
Mm.
which set me back a little bit. I couldn't talk. My wife helped kind of get me back on the track with talking and reading,
Hmm.
and the yoga actually helped me with the physical side of it, even to the point where the NHS doctors and that said you don't need any physical rehab because you've already got the yoga going,
Oh,
which really helped.
that's
Even
cool.
with the first, I think it was about a week after, I was like, no, I've got to do my yoga, and it did help.
Okay. So a week after the stroke, you were doing yoga again?
Yeah, I think it was only the like a beginners program, but
Yeah.
yeah, 15 minutes a day, it was really helping.
Yeah. Okay. So you went back to so that's absolute. So you were doing the absolute beginners program a week afterwards. So what would are did they talk to you about the physical therapy process versus yoga and um I guess I'm curious to understand how yoga helped with the recovery process.
But they started off as because of the stroke. A lot of people have like a numbness or weakness in one side, and
Okay.
I did start with that, but it wasn't as bad as what a lot of people did, where they have their face drooping and that sort of thing. I had none of that, but
Okay.
they said I had to do some sort of exercising, if it's even if it's just walking on the spot or
Hmm.
push-ups or something. And I did say to them, well, I already did yoga, um, and they said, oh yeah, that's you could do that. So, all right, fine, and carried that on. And they're they didn't really give me a lot to do specifically. They
Hmm.
kind of just let me to do my own thing, and um, I didn't have much to do else other than sit in the lounge and do my yoga. And yeah, it wasn't really the greatest support on the from their end.
Hmm. So they did you have a were you off of were you how long were you off of work for?
Uh, Months. Officially, I left care 6 months after it happened. I just couldn't go back. I was still recovering officially then, and
Hmm.
I couldn't go. The work was that it was lone working, so you live with an adult with disabilities.
Hmm.
Obviously, you couldn't. I couldn't stay with someone there and then care for someone
Yeah.
else. So yeah, 6 months after I officially left, but I hadn't been back from that day, day of the stroke. I had gone to And a few months after that, I got a job as an exam invigilator for the GCSEs, which is our 16-year-old exams. I don't know what the equivalent in America is.
Like SATs maybe or ACTs, like
Could
standardized tests.
be.
Standardized tests.
Yeah, it's like they go off to when they're 16, 17, kids go to college and then do their A
Yeah.
levels. But I
Okay.
yeah, which was quite good as well, helping me more than
Hmm.
helping them just to get out of the house, to get a job.
Yeah.
Um, they were quite surprised. I did yoga as well, which was quite funny.
Hmm. Got it. So, all right. So we're off of work 6 months. You're kind of just recovering, doing yoga. Did you have any checkups? I'm just kind of curious. When you went back in to see them again, did they what do they say?
Yeah, they had checkups. They're not very often. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen the news or anything. NHS is quite bogged down a bit for the last
Hmm.
quite a few years. But I had a few checkups, and they were quite surprised how physically, at least, I'd recovered without any problems. A couple of nurses came out to see me, which was quite good, and
Hmm.
they checked like a physical rehab exercises to just to
Yeah.
check how it had progressed and if it got any better, and raising your arms and just walking around and things like that. And they were quite surprised, pleasantly surprised that I recovered physically at least.
That's pretty cool. I mean, did that feel good?
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that it came from doing yoga every day was quite happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Uh, well, I'm glad that helped with the recovery. That's really cool to hear. So, and so since then, have your goal has been what's the fitness goals been for you since then? How have you tried to get
I,
back to just
I
back
think
into things?
I think the main one is I say lose weight, but I always say that because it's not a case of exercising; it's more a case of not putting the wrong food in my mouth. And
Hmm.
I think it's
Yeah.
sort of, at the moment, I think I was going to start doing the Clark series again because it's been my go-to. If I don't know what I'm doing, I put the
Hmm.
Clark series on,
Okay.
which is kind of an all-rounder. I've just about started doing some physical uh, body weight exercises like push-ups, sit-ups. So I haven't been able to do
Okay.
that for a while with the new job.
Yeah.
7, 8 months,
What's the new is
eight.
the new job the one that you talked about before with the
Uh,
tests?
no, I had to get a full time job as a chef, which is what I
Oh,
used
okay.
to do a long
Got
time
it.
ago. I don't enjoy it, but unfortunately, having a long CV of chefing means that kitchens go, "Oh, you like that? You can come work here."
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's not
Okay.
great. It does make me tired. These late nights
Yes.
and like 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
Oh, wow.
It's interesting.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that does sound tough. And you have so it's you, your partner, your wife. Do you have any kids?
Several kids, yeah, for
Oh, four kids. Okay.
yeah, and cats. I'm pretty sure there's one around here somewhere because the curtain keeps twitching. I can hear purring for the moment. But
I got it. So man, that must have been so how old were your kids when the stroke happened?
the oldest is she's sure 18. She was at the time. Youngest was 8.
Okay.
They're nearly 19 and 9 now. 10, sorry. Yeah, she's the oldest
Mm,
is an adult. She was at uni for a bit, but they're they were giving me orders about you've got to do your exercise, you've got to do your reading, your writing and stuff after it all happened. So
yeah. Was that helpful or not helpful?
Oh yeah, no, it's helpful. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think everyone was kind of giving me orders.
So everyone held you accountable to do what you needed to do to recover.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, got it. So, all right. So you're getting back into bodyweight exercises now. You just finished up the Beyond Flexibility
Yeah.
challenge with the rest of the community. Um, how's uh how is your health now compared to before the stroke?
Health wise, it's probably kind of gone to the same of a sort. Obviously, being more flexible has helped.
Hmm.
Um, I think I'd try. I'm not doing the 24-hour shifts, which is what I was doing when I had the
Hmm.
stroke. So I'm not. The exhaustion isn't quite as bad.
Yeah, I mean, 24 hours is a long time to do a shift.
A little bit, yeah. It's a definitely different experience compared to previous jobs. But then again, same as working in the pub now. But I've been there 8 weeks now. Must be eight
Okay.
weeks. So my body and my tiredness is starting to get used to it and kind of push you to get into doing routines. And I kind of let myself lapse a bit when I first
Hmm.
started because it was just absolutely tiring, absolutely knackering. And but now that the shifts are more consistent, I guess
Hmm.
it's my body starting to get used to it a little bit.
Okay. Got it. So, you've got four kids, you got your family, you got the cats, you're getting back into the the swing of things in terms of a full-time job right now. And you're also, you know, increasing the intensity of your workouts at the same time. So, what are you what's your motivation for when you feel tired, when you feel, drained after a day of work, but you still want to do your workouts? How do you motivate yourself to be consistent with your workouts when you're tired like that?
Um, it's not really one specific thing. I think it's just
Hmm.
knowing, having been what I was before, and now, especially now that it's been as a challenge as well, has kind of helped, kind of
Hmm.
push me to keep it going. Um, Motivation of trying to lose weight, I guess,
Hmm.
um, and also be around for the kids. I mean, taking them swimming tomorrow morning. There's 4 or 5 of them and their friends, so it's not entirely sure that's going to how well that's going to work out, but it could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's good motivation though. So, if you had to go, I guess if you had to dig a little bit deeper in terms of reasons for that motivation to lose weight, what's the real motivation there? Just is it a fear that you're not going to be around longer for the kids if you don't lose the weight? Is there a confidence thing there? What do you think is really driving the motivation to lose weight?
Probably all of it, all of that. It's it's probably a confidence thing. Being
Hmm.
overweight, you always feel like people are going to judge, and obviously I look myself in the mirror, and I don't like what I see. It's also thinking about the kids, you know, this fat dad or something like that,
Yeah.
and being around late, longer and being around for the kids when they have kids and not being
Hmm.
stuck in a wheelchair or stuck in a home or stuck in a armchair and not being able to enjoy it the way that my dad's been enjoying being a granddad with my
Hmm.
kids has been.
Is your dad is he relatively fit then, or he's just been able to be active with your family, or what?
Yeah, he's always has been. We did the same job for quite a while. Funnily enough, it's the job that brought me to Somerset, and I met my wife. Um,
Hmm.
he ran the London Marathon in 2006. He's
Okay.
always he's running, and he does go to the gym himself. Um,
Hmm.
he's always been active, and
Yeah.
rugby as well.
Okay. Like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what were you? I'm curious about your weight change. Have you has it yo-yoed up and down? Have you had periods of success where you have been losing weight and then other things happen, or has it always has it been pretty consistent?
When we had she's not our first daughter. Um, she had two kids before we met, and we had our first daughter, Melody. She died when she was 5 weeks old, and
Oh wow.
but she'd been in the NICU for 5 weeks before that,
Hmm.
and we'd been living off takeaways and ready meals, and by the end of when she passed, I was bigger than I'd ever been, bigger than I am now, and I suddenly realised, oh bugger, I've got to do something about this, and I think I
Hmm.
lost. I went from 360 pounds down to about 240
Wow.
in about a year or so. Unfortunately, when our next daughter was born, and that kind of went out the window.
Hmm.
Um, but like you say, it has been yo-yoed. And then I
Hmm.
had lost weight, and then I had another daughter, and then I managed to get down a bit, and then the previous health problems I've had the last about 6 years, I've kind of not like that I'm excusing it, but I've been tired and eaten and not really thought it through. You kind of get
Hmm.
to the end of the day and I'm tired and there's a snack there. I'll eat that. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's yo-yoed a lot. But I think I've lost about 15 pounds in the last 2 weeks so far.
Wow. Okay.
So hope, fingers crossed, it's going to carry on.
When you're successful with weight loss, what are some things that you notice you're doing well?
Breathing easier. So that's a
Oh,
big one.
okay.
But also, there's a lot of hills around Chard where we live, and
Okay.
just walking up to the nearest convenience store up the hill, my I found that I'm not out of breath by the time I get to the top of the hill, and just that
Hmm.
alone has been kind of a goal, not a goal, but it's like oh, I'm at the top of the hill, I'm not out of breath. That's cool.
Hmm.
And then keep going, and I'm still not out of breath when I get to work. 25 minutes later, it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
So what are you doing when you do notice that you've like in the last 2 weeks you've mentioned that you've lost 15 pounds? What do you notice that helps with the weight loss?
Uh, More about, well, sometimes it's hung around in the community group, seeing a
Hmm.
lot of other people like Cody, um, seeing
Yeah.
him being quite so confident with himself, being overweight,
Hmm.
um, trying to get that confidence. Uh, Still don't, not quite got Cody's level yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also trying to like push myself to look in the mirror a bit more. Sounds like stupid, but if you don't
Hmm.
look in the mirror, it's almost like a denial.
Hmm.
But if you look in the mirror, you go, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm overweight. I need to keep it going, keep going," and
Yeah.
mental more than I know. It's like you know how to do it. It's just that kind of
Hmm.
keeping it going and knowing that you need to be able to get it down.
Yeah. Got it. So when you are losing weight, is it because you're exercising more? Is it because you're walking more? Are you being better with what you're eating? What helps you lose weight?
Um, I think it sounds like I was walking a lot because unfortunately, because the stroke also caused me to have epilepsy.
Mm.
And in the UK, you cannot drive if you've had epilepsy or you've had any seizures in a 12-month period.
Okay.
So without a car, I have to walk, and public transport's rubbish. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, so walking everywhere has helped. Even
Okay.
just going to Tesco's or to get the shopping daily rather than do it at one big shop, which obviously means putting a backpack and weights you down, which means the 15-minute walk home is also more. It's more than just a quick walk. It's hard work carrying the
Yeah.
shopping home every day, which has helped.
Okay. Well, yeah, that sounds like it's a great workout.
Yeah,
Do you know how often you're walking? Or do you have like does your phone track your steps, or do you ever look at that?
yeah. I've got my Fitbit, various
Okay.
different Fitbits when they work.
Hmm.
We've My wife and I are on something all called Team RH, which is
Okay.
a British. It's like it does a bit of motivation on that, which is mostly just a Geordie shouting at you. But it's also they have their own. It's almost a bit like My Fitness Pal app.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
It's got all the food on there, and it's you certain goals. You hit certain steps every day.
Hmm.
Uh, set hit protein every day. That sort of thing.
Yeah. Got it. How many steps are you taking a day on average?
Uh, on a day like today when I'm not working, probably about 10,000. On a work day, it's closer to 25,000 steps.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
yeah,
steps.
yeah,
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, mystery solved. um, yeah. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of steps though, but also it's tough because, you're going to be hungry after doing all those steps, so you have to be mindful about what you're eating in
yeah,
response to that.
yeah. Luckily, the great thing about the closing shifts at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're too tired to raid the fridge. You just, I just want to go to bed. I
You
want
just
food.
Yeah. Um my brother is he works in bars. And he's lost probably 30 pounds, and he didn't change anything different because he's moving, he's picking up kegs, and he's doing stuff, and he's managing a bar, and he's walking all over and doing stuff actively. But the yeah, I think that helped him is he just stopped eating, and I think he just does like he doesn't eat breakfast. I think he just eats like dinner, and but he gets home at 2. I don't think he eats anything after that either. He's just so, but that's
Yeah,
so that makes
keeping
sense.
busy, I think, is probably my biggest uh, motivation, I guess.
Yeah.
Just doing anything other than sitting and looking at the fridge.
Yeah. So then one I just want to ask one more question before I go on into the rapid fire parts. But how much did you weigh when you and your wife met?
Oh, God, I'm not entirely sure. About 150 kilos. Not sure how that is. 320,
Okay.
30 pounds, something like that.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So you know, you've always been bigger then. And it wasn't like she
Yeah,
met you
I
when you were
yeah. I think when I was 18, when I moved out of my house, out of mum's, um, it was then, oh, I can eat what I want. I don't have to
yeah.
listen to my mum, and I got my own job. I got my own place. I can eat anything. It just kind of snowballed from there. But yeah, I played
uh
when I played rugby in school, so I was pretty tall and thin and big in a sport sense rather than a more food spent sense.
Hmm. All right. So it was moving out on your own and your mom not telling you what not to eat. That did you in.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
All right. All right, cool. Okay, so I've got a few other questions. What's one habit, belief, or mindset that has helped you the most with your overall health and wellness?
Um, I probably being healthy enough for the kids or for the family, really.
Mm, okay. Yeah, that's a good answer. All right. So, second question is, what's one thing that you do for your health that is overlooked or undervalued by others?
Oh God, probably even yoga. People kind of look
Okay.
at me and go, "You do yoga?" Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's an answer. What's the most stressful part of your day to day life?
I shouldn't say family because then I'll get into trouble. Probably the job more than
Yeah.
anything. Working late. Sorry, the
Yeah.
cat
Working
there.
those late shifts. Yeah. Makes sense. And then what's your best piece of advice for men who want to be healthier?
Uh, Consistency. I think it's probably what is the thing that keeps everything going. Get a routine. Um,
Hmm.
Keep busy.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, anything else you want to add?
Uh, I don't think so. Not without being. I have managed so far. I've managed to not be silly as I am on the group.
Being
Mum,
silly is encouraged. Yeah, I do want to say you are quite silly on the Facebook group, and I think that humor people really appreciate that humor. Um, yeah, I love it. So thank you for being a the voice of comedic relief in the community. It's really great, honestly.
it's fine. I think because I social media I used to be quite serious when I first started doing the workouts and
Hmm.
recording myself on that. But these last couple of years, especially when joining Manflow Yoga, I've take the workouts seriously, but posting on social media, yeah, not serious at all. Or try not
Yeah,
to be anyway.
yeah. No, I like that. I think having fun with it is much more enjoyable. But also you're also, you're not just you're not posting and saying, "Yeah, I pushed myself through the workout." You're posting and saying like, "Oh crap, I'm in this pose and I hate my life right now." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And people really like that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on and having this conversation with me. Guys, I hope you get something out of this interview. John, I'll continue to see you and your humor, your British humor in the Facebook group. Yeah. Thanks again for being part of Manful Yoga.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. I hope this inspires you to be a better man. Hope you got something out of this. I'll see you on the next episode.